nail that sticks out gets hammered down. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back onto this channel. This video is about what I learnt in the 3 years of living in Japan. And if you're looking for motivational videos that people put out that talk about the most amazing things about living in Japan, well, I'm not going to talk about that stuff. Instead, I'm going to talk about what I learnt, and this is going to be quite a serious video, but I hope it's also informative. So, at my workplace, at my old workplace I should say, there was a colleague and he was really hardworking at his job, but the thing was, he really liked art and drawing, and his art was amazing. I really admired his art and I thought it was amazing, and I actually received a picture that he drew for me and it was absolutely gorgeous. But unfortunately, he didn't feel, I guess, even though he wanted to pursue his artistic career, he felt worried and scared, like a lot of us do. So he went on about his life, doing his work at his stable job, the one that I left actually, and yeah, and he really made me realize how important it is to follow your heart. I left the job because I knew that I had something I wanted to do. It's what I'm doing now, but I wanted to teach people about living freely and following their heart. So, like the Japanese saying, we're supposed to go to school, go to university, get a degree, and find a stable job, be at that job until you're 65 and leave, right? You have all these things already planned for you the second you're born. You're supposed to go to school, go to university, get a job, work at that job, and then retire, and then you're like free or whatever. But it's like, we only have the right now, and what are you working towards really? Like, if you're working every day just to get by, I don't want to come across really rude or anything. The society, the Japanese society at least, in my experience, again, this is only my experience, I have to say that because this might not be the experience that everybody has, but from my experience and from my own knowledge, I know that people in Japan just work and work and work and work and work until they're exhausted at a job that they don't really love. What's the point in doing what you don't love for years and years and years and years, right? And I guess the reason people do this is out of fear and the I can't mindset. When you're in the I can't mindset, then you really can't get anywhere because you are telling yourself you can't do this, you can't do that. But that's the ego talking. That's only the mind talking. That's not your heart. When you follow your heart, you trust and you have faith that when you do what you love, that's what you'll get in return. You'll get love, you'll get more love because you're living in the vibration of love. And the I can't mindset is a conditioned mindset, and it's something that we're taught at an early age. You can't do this, you can't do that, you have to do this, you have to do that. Where does that even come from? Where does it say we have to do this or you can't do this? Who made that decision? Well, no one. It's only a conditioned thing. There's no real reason for that. It comes from fear, and anything that comes from fear is something you really want to avoid, because fear is a very low vibration energy and concept, and as long as you're living in that vibration of fear, you're never going to be happy. You can work at a stable job and you can have the money, but you're not happy, right? Because you're in the I can't mindset. And I'm going to be looking at my phone sometimes because I have notes on it, but please don't mind that. Okay, so what is reality? that's the next thing I want to talk about. What's real and what's fake? What's truth and what's false? How do you determine that? Well, that's to do with our consciousness and where our consciousness lies. When we're living in a lower vibrational consciousness like level, then what you see is all going to be very low vibrational. Whereas when you're living in the consciousness of a higher vibration, then you're going to see things at a higher consciousness level. And there's nothing wrong with, you know, I'm not saying high is better than low and low isn't as good as the higher vibrations, but I'm just saying that our reality is a reflection of our own energy. And I guess I talk about that quite a lot, and I'm really sorry for repeating the concept, but it's really true. Like, when you're saying, okay, let's take that example of that teacher, let's call him Bob. I keep everyone as Bob because, you know, why not, you know, for anonymous reasons, and it's a cool name. So anyway, Bob thinks I can't make money off of this and I can't live a stable life if I do what I love. And that's the I can't mindset. And as long as he's at that level of consciousness and level of vibration, then of course that's going to be the case, because he's saying I can't do what I love and be financially stable. That's his mindset. That's where his vibration is, and that's going to be what he experiences, because that's what his energy is emitting. Whereas when you live in the consciousness of I can do what I love and live a stable life, then it's completely different. Because I'm saying I'm happy right now, because right now I actually quit that job after 3 years and I'm happier than ever, and it's like I can't believe how free I feel right now. That's because I'm not focused on, wait, where's my money coming from? Am I financially stable? Am I going to be able to do this? Like, I'm not living at that level of consciousness. My consciousness is saying I'm free, I can do whatever I want, I'm just the happiest I've ever been. And if I'm saying that to myself, and if I'm living at that consciousness, then it doesn't matter where the money's coming from, or am I having a stable income, or am I going to be able to live, am I going to be able to eat. I'm not thinking about that. So what I'm seeing around me is just freedom, and like I can do whatever I want basically. And I guess that sounds kind of maybe over the top, but to me that's my reality, and you know, that makes it realistic for me. So what's real and what's fake isn't dependent on our outer consciousness. No, that's not dependent on the external, but it's all internal. Because, you know, I've given this example before, but it's a really good example. It's not one that I've come up with. It's actually something that maybe I read it somewhere or someone told me about it and I thought, wow, I'm gonna take this as my own. But it's like, you know, that bus where these two people are sitting on the bus and one person is looking at the outside beautiful scenery, wow, like this is so beautiful, and like look at all the trees and all that stuff, and then the other person is looking at all the rubbish on the floor or how long it's taking on the bus, and you know, just getting frustrated. And they're both sitting on the same bus, their focus is different, and that's what makes it different. You know, I was at that same workplace as this colleague, you know, Bob, and I was really happy there because I was, one, really excited about leaving. I mean, that's a given, and I'm not going to lie about that. But I was really happy about leaving, and then also I was like really happy to be able to help people at that workplace and like, you know, expand their minds. I don't want to be like all egoistic and be like, oh, how amazing am I? But, you know, that's not the point. But I'm just saying, like, I was focusing more on the positive side of being at that workplace and being able to work with the kids. That was the best thing, you know, and I kind of miss it in a way, and I hope I'll get to experience that more in the future. But anyway, that's a side tangent. And yeah, so basically it's about where we're focusing, and this nail that gets nailed down, it's like that's the way that the Japanese society works. You have to fit in, you can't do what you love, you can't stand out, you can't do anything you really want to do, you know, if it's going to cause trouble for anybody else. But ultimately we're in charge of our own reality, so it doesn't matter what I do. I'm not going to be able to affect anybody else unless they choose to be affected by what I do. So where am I going with this? Oh yeah, the main point here is that working for 3 years and living in Japan for 3.5 years has taught me to really go for your dreams, and the I can't mindset is created by the ego, and it's not created from the heart. It doesn't come from the heart, it comes from fear, which is the ego. And what's really sad is, like, okay, so I don't want to come across really rude or anything, but I feel like the adults are the ones that push their beliefs on children to be like, oh, be scared of this, be scared of that, you can't do this, you can't do that. That's not the case for only Japan. It happens everywhere to an extent, but Japan is where I've really experienced it. You know, watching teachers telling kids, you can't do this, you can't do that, what are you talking about, that's wrong. But to them, you know, the kids, they think that they're right, and that's why they're saying what they think. And when you kind of go, oh no, you can't do this, you know, like the kid who thinks 2 + 2 is 5, and when you're like, no, that's wrong, but in that kid's mind there might be an explanation to why 2 + 2 is 5. There might not be a logical explanation for that, but there is an explanation for that. And when you're like in this little mindset like this, and you're not allowed to get out of this box, how restricting is that? Oh, I don't know. It's like, it's really important not to lose yourself in society's expectations, because society is always going to expect something from you. You don't have to live according to what everyone says or what society says, because that's where the I can't mindset comes from, right? When you're constantly telling yourself you can't do this, you can't do that, then what can you do? You might as well just sit at home and do nothing, right? You might as well just be at home doing nothing if you're going to tell yourself you can't do this, you can't do that. It's really important to be conscious of how you talk to yourself as well. How you talk to yourself really shapes your life, because ultimately you're living in your own reality. You're not living in anybody else's reality. You're living in your own reality, and how you think and how you feel is the most important thing when it comes to following your heart. It's not about the external world. I could have been, you know, going to school thinking, oh I wanna leave this job, why is it taking so long, and I want to be free, I want to quit, oh my god, like I hate coming to school, I hate going to work, I hate doing this, I hate doing that. I could have been thinking like that, and it would have been the same thing. I might as well have thought, how amazing is it that I get to help people every day, and time would have passed anyway. But it's not about the destination. It's not about me becoming self-employed or becoming free. It's not about that. It's about living right now, living in this present moment, and actually recognizing your mindset at this present moment, because that's all you have. You're never gonna live in your past or your future, because your consciousness is only here right now. It's only here and here. and here. And that's how, you know, 1 second passes, 2 seconds pass, 3 seconds pass. That's how it is. Time is linear, but our consciousness is multi-dimensional. Our consciousness can expand and change so much at any given moment. But that's not based on external circumstances. It's only based on your internal vibration. So I hope that from this video you can take away something. But the main point here is to follow your heart and to recognize when you're in the I can't mindset. Just recognize it and think, oh, I'm thinking I can't again. The I can't mindset comes from ego. I don't want to come across like, you know, the ego, like just get rid of it, because we can't. I mean, this is okay. I'm saying I can't again, or we can't again, but the ego is something we have as long as we live here. As long as we're living on this planet, we're always going to have the ego. But just recognizing, okay, oh, this is my ego, and then shifting a little bit, and shifting and shifting, and just thinking, okay, this is my ego, let's just relax and look at it objectively. Where is the I can't coming from? The ego isn't us, the ego isn't you. The ego is just a part of you that's kind of like stuck to you and always like talking to you. Like, imagine, this is going to be a really weird analogy, but like imagine like a little puppy that really loves, you know, hanging out with you, like, because, you know, it's your puppy in this fantasy story. And he's like, oh, you know, mummy or daddy, like, I love you, I love you, I love you. That's what the ego's doing. But you don't have to pay attention to it. You can just be like, all right babe, you know. You can just like see it as something that's kind of hanging out with you, but it's not you. The puppy's not you, it's only a puppy. And you don't have to be like horrible to the ego. You don't have to be like, oh, shut up, like, because again, that's very low vibrational. That's like the ego again. That's another like part of your ego being like, oh, stop it, be quiet, shh. That's gonna lower your vibration. But just experience it and be like, oh, okay, this is my ego talking. Okay, I get you, and then you shift. Then you're like, okay, there's this puppy here, but I'm gonna look this way, I'm gonna look at something else, I'm gonna focus on what I can do and focus on what I love and what I want to do and what makes me happy. Just separate yourself from the ego, because the ego is not you, it's only a part of your experience. And the second we're dead, this is going to come across really morbid, but the moment you're dead, when you pass away, I guess, your ego is no longer going to be a part of you, and it's not going to bother you anymore. So just realize that when you see it as something separate from you, then you can thrive in life. I hope that this video has helped you in some way, and my battery's going, so I'm going to have to go, but thank you for watching, and please like and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.